and welcome to the Basketball Addicts Podcast.
Yeah.
And today we have a good one. Today we're going to be talking about regular season predictions. So basically we're going to be hitting what our regular season record, end of season record, and our standings are going to be, and what our predictions are for those and every team that's going to be on that list. And we're also going to be talking about awards. We're going to talk about who we think is going to be the MVP, talk about the top three guys we have at every slot, just to talk about, who we have for each one. And we're going to go over a little bit of an intro, talking about some hot topics, which is going to be about Victor Wembanyama, Zyra Williamson, Draymond Green slapping the poo out of Jordan Poole. Like, it's going to be some fun stuff to talk about. So that's where we're heading first. Is there anything you want to say before we kick it to the first topic?
No, let's get to it.
All right, sounds good. The first thing we're going to talk about is Victor Wembanyama. Victor Wembanyama dropped 37 points. Everybody's been losing their mind about him. I told you guys on a couple of podcast episodes ago that he was that guy next year. He was a generational talent. He's really special. So I want to see what do you think about Victor Wembanyama and everything that's going on right now with him?
He's just getting a lot, like extremely, like a large amount of publicity right now. Like these all over. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's Victor Wembanyama! Oh my God! Oh my God!"
Yes.
Oh my God. Brain melting, people running around, everything's on fire. They're like, we have to lose every game. Don't put Trae Young in. Lose every game. Don't put De'Aaron Fox in. Lose every game. We must have him. He is the next coming of the greatest player. And he was like, oh my God. And I'm just like, I'm not gonna say I'm not impressed, right? He's 7'4". We've never seen anything like that before to move. And he's a wing and he has guard skill and he can shoot the three. He can shoot lights out if he wants to. It's ridiculous. And then he plays defense because he's just so tall, so he can't help but play defense. Yeah. So it's like, it's kind of like cheating almost. It's like he won the genetic lottery and it's a cheat code.
Yes.
As it brought to life. And
yes.
I'm just like, dag. Just imagine what the NBA is going to look like once you get in there. And then, like, he's going to, like, it's crazy because I'm going to go here. And say this. And you can agree with me or not. Remember how Mike was, like, with the Wizards? Right?
Yeah.
And then a year or two following, LeBron came into the league and he was the chosen one. The next Mike. And then he solidified himself in the league, a couple years down the line. Yeah, it's starting to look that way. It's starting to look like LeBron's in the league. He's entering those later years. Vic, for sure, is going to come out into the draft next year. He's entering those later years. It's going to be a changing of the guard very quickly. Yeah. Just with all the hype. Because, I just read an article that really, I don't quite agree with, right? I read an article, that said, like, hey, if LeBron and Vic was coming out in the same draft, LeBron wouldn't be number one, he'd be number two. And I'm like,
no.
It's just KD. No. And KD's not better than LeBron, so...
No, it's because of LeBron's passing. It makes a difference. And his athletic gifts were too ridiculously insane it would be a ridiculous draft, but I would still take Vic too. Yeah,
Vic would go too. And I'm like... I talked to my brother, right? And like I said, you may agree with this or not. And I was like, he was like, what do you think about this? And I was like, I don't know. Because, like, LeBron is my GOAT, right? He's our GOAT on this podcast, right? He's our greatest of all time. Solidified.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, they were saying the same thing about KD. Like, KD's, like, the best. He's demigod. He's long and he has guard skill. I'm like, well, Vic is he's just taller than KD, but he's technically just KD. So, like, if KD's not better than LeBron, then how is Vic better than LeBron?
I would push back on it a little bit.
I'm here for it.
I would push back on it a little bit. Even though I feel like you made a great comparison, and I would have made the same comparison as you, is some people are evolutionary steps from other great players. And LeBron James is an evolutionary step from Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson athletic gifts, you basically pair Dominique Wilkins and Magic Johnson to get LeBron James. You know what I mean? And we're looking at the 2.0 KD because KD was ridiculous, right? But you add 5 inches and you gave similar skill. But the reason why KD is, so we're going apples to apples, KD to Victor, and just scoring specifically, then I see your point. But at the rim, he's going to be a shot blocker, something not KD is not. That's another way he's going to impact the basketball game. He's going to impact the basketball game on the boards. 7'4". He could be as frail as you want him to be, but he's still going to get boards. He's still going to impact the game defensively. Yeah. And there's point in times where he does flash passing intelligence. And that's where he is much more developed in the passing and the basketball intelligence of the game that way than KD coming out. Now, I'm not saying that he's like Giannis or Jokic where he's super special. I'm just saying it's more polished. Think of like 3 assists per game his rookie year. That's where I'm viewing him. So I would push back a little bit because KD is not a complete player like Bron, but Victor's a step forward into more of a complete version of KD, in my opinion.
That's crazy. And so my question for you, right, Jay? And then we can kind of conversate this if you want to.
Yeah.
Do you think that starting with Vic, do you think we will start seeing... Well, technically, the first evolution was Giannis, right? For this modern day, like, center type guard combo kind of thing. Do you think because of Giannis and now we're getting Vic, who's 7'4", do you believe that that maybe 10 years down the line we're going to have a taller NBA?
100%. I 100% understand exactly where you're getting at, because 7-footers are so much different than they used to be because they're not, in the post as much, right? They're learning guard skills. Look at Chet Holmgren. Yeah. He's kind of in that mold, and I think we're going to get a lot more of those type of guys. I think guys like Kevin Garnett, Dirk Nowitzki are to blame for this style of play that we're seeing. I mean, there's even a 7'17", like 7-foot guy from France that has skill and like really skilled. That's not Victor Wembanyama. That's like 1 year below him. So like, there's a lot of guys that are going to be coming in that can do more than like a Kristaps Porzingis. They can shot create from themselves a little bit more, and they're going to have more skills. So I completely understand where you're coming from, and I think that's the league will move to that. It's going to be like, how skilled can you be, how tall you can be, and we're going to have some demigods in the league, and Victor Wembanyama is the first step towards that era, and so is Chet and Evan Mobley. There's a lot of guys.
Okay, so going piggybacking off of that, right? I don't know if you remember this or not, right? Remember, I believe it was maybe a couple months back, right? And we were talking, individually, right, on a podcast about our different takes on the evolution of basketball. Do you quite remember that one?
Yeah.
And I was talking about the evolution of the center position. So my question is that coming sooner than I thought?
I think extinction of the post is coming for like traditionalist centers.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to start seeing these guys just slowly become more and more skilled. And it's just kind of become blurry, like small forward centers type of positionalist basketball that I think the league is moving towards, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch these tall guys play like this.
Yeah, I can't wait till we do our evolution of basketball series based off this year and going forward. Because just to think what the NBA will look like, they're just looking forward to the future. Yeah. If we're looking at Vic, Chet, and Giannis, we're saying maybe Giannis may have maybe a couple more years down the line, so he'll actually see like the fruits of his labor really take the form in other players. And it's just gonna be just crazy because like you have players like Scoot Henderson who has an amazing game and gets overshadowed because he's not 7'4". So it's like that's what's gonna end up happening. A lot of these smaller players are gonna be really like literally like physically, mentally overshadowed because they're not gonna be as tall. So it's just they're gonna be overshadowed by these taller guard level players.
Yeah. I want to put this in quickly. Scoot, before we transition to the next topic, Scoot Henderson's getting a lot of hype. I'm not buying. The reason why is they're overrating his athleticism to a certain extent. He's not Russell Westbrook. No. He's not Derrick Rose. You know what I mean? He shoots 17% from the three-point line last year in the G League, and he's never shown me any type of shot creation for himself in the three-point range or the mid-range. And he's not a great passer, so he's just a good athlete that's good at finishing around the rim. He reminds me of John Wall. Now, I don't think John Wall's had a terrible career or a terrible player, but I definitely feel like some people are saying, oh man, Scoot's close with Vic. I don't know, is Vic or Scoot? Like, it's nowhere close. Vic is in a different stratosphere than Scoot, and Scoot might underperform comparatively speaking to the hype right now. But hopefully it proves me wrong, and this year he shoots better, but I'm seeing a complete lack of skill at the point guard position where, you know, everybody's highly skilled. This guy's only 6'2", but he's bulky like John Wall. Like, I feel like he's John Wall, you know, reincarnated, but, you know, I think Scoot's hype is a little overblown. But I think this every year.
Yeah. So for me, my pushback on that really quick is that you can't teach height, right? You can't teach heart. You can't teach courage, but you can teach somebody how to shoot.
Did Marcus Smart ever learn how to shoot? It took him a long time.
It took him a minute, though, but
what I'm trying to say is John Wall never learned how to shoot. Like, Russell Westbrook only ever got a mid-range pull-up shot. Like, for guys that are completely deficient at shooting the basketball, and when they come to the NBA, there's limitations to how good they can become shooting the basketball because they have so much ground to make up. Like Lonzo Ball, for example. We're never going to see Lonzo Ball shot creating from the three or like becoming this amazing mid-range shot creator for himself, but he put a ton of work in, and he's going to be a standstill shooter for the three-point line for the rest of his career. Yeah, guys can become that, but they have to put in a ton of work for it, and it's pretty rare when somebody doesn't have show any skills that makes me think. Like, I'm being very blunt with you, Chris. I've never seen him do a step back. I've never seen him do a sidestep. I've never seen him do a crossover pull up. I've never seen him pull up off a dribble that's like really clean and fundamentally sound. Like, there's nothing. Like, he's very, very far away and unpolished, has no, like, very, very lacking skill wise. And that's where I'm kind of standing there because it's just so far away.
25%.
It's hard to project
this season.
It's an improvement if it happens. 25%. I would much rather him shoot 25% and see him trying to shoot step back threes. You know what I mean? It's trying to shoot for shot creation, but it's just nothing. Nothing. It's just standstill threes. Shooting 17% from standstill shots. Like, it's terrible.
Yeah. 25% this year.
Hopefully he does. All right, I think we should kick it to the next topic here. Draymond Green punching the poo out of Jordan Poole. What do you think, Chris?
I feel like a lot of times in the day and age that we are in, right? In the social media, electronic technology era, where everybody has to know everything that goes on anywhere, I feel that was a blatant disregard and blatant disrespect to the organization and the disregard for the privacy of the organization for that footage to be leaked and to get out. Even if TMZ did pay for it, still, that takes that the fact that everybody knows and that it's broadcasted everywhere puts a bigger spotlight and magnifying glass on the Golden State Warriors for a number of reasons. Right? So, one, how was that situation handled? Not everybody's wondering, okay, so what's going to happen with Dre? He has to do press conferences now, has to apologize. You know what I mean? And then we're looking at him now like, is he truly, I think we talked about this yesterday, is he truly sorry? Do he really feel bad? Or is he just bad that he got caught, that is broadcasted? Yeah. Some of these things should stay internal. A lot of problems that's happened within the organization, we don't need to know. Pointing back to, you know, just think of this right now. You know, like a lot of the stories, right, of Mike punching Kerr or maybe how Kobe might have been in practice, those were all internal. That, you know what I mean? Those were never truly broadcasted. We found out about those years later. This is something that should have been kept internal within the organization, and we should have not have found out about that. That was not something that the public needed to be aware of.
Yeah, it's true that it's like that, and my take on it is that, I think Draymond Green might be losing his touch a little bit with the leadership. I think when you punch somebody like that, like when you watch the video, like Jordan Poole might be saying whatever, you know what I mean? But Jordan Poole doesn't walk towards Draymond Green ever during that time frame. Draymond Green walks right up to him, right? Jordan Poole pushes because he's like right in his breathing space, and then Draymond Green knocks him, just like punches him. It was crazy.
He went to sleep
and
night.
Yeah, it was a heck of a punch. Like he got momentum on it. Like
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay.
He did the step celebration for real. He went to sleep.
Yeah.
Not condoning violence.
I mean,
that's funny.
Yeah. I think that, there's a lot of obvious tension there between contracts and them both being guys that are going to be paid soon. And Jordan Poole's the new guy that's really, really great and more talented than Draymond Green offensively. And, maybe they're trying to pass the torch a little bit. Jordan Poole wants to cement himself as a part of the team. Is not taking Draymond Green's crap. Like, I think Draymond Green really lost trust with the roster, in my opinion, especially the younger guys. Like he goes out and punches Jordan Poole. I wouldn't be surprised if Jordan Poole is the representation of the younger guys. Their reputation of the younger guys, theoretically speaking, where him, James Wiseman, Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, like they're probably all a part of one group within the culture. They're the young guys. They're not really proven. Jordan Poole's the leader of it because he's the most proven. So when you punch Jordan Poole, okay, this is the way I treat you, young guy. Boom, I punch you in the face. Okay, how is Jonathan Kuminga, James Wiseman, Moses Moody supposed to trust Draymond Green? How are they supposed to know that he's not going to, treat them so much poorly because they're younger guys? Oh my gosh, if they could do that to the guy that's, could be an all-star a few years from now and could lead after Steph Curry retires, he could be the face of the franchise. Like, if you can do that to him, what is he going to do to me? Like, how am I supposed to go to Draymond Green when I'm having issues on defense? Oh my gosh, what, he's going to punch me? I don't know if I can really trust him. Look at the way he treated Jordan Poole. Like, I feel like leadership-wise, it was a bad decision, and especially since those young guys have to do so much this year. James Wiseman is by far the most talented center on the team. He should be making a push to start. Jordan Poole might get more minutes because Steph Curry's 34. He might play more this year. They're probably going to go a lot of 3-guard lineups and have Clay at the 3 and, Andrew Wiggins at the 4 and Draymond Green at the 5. And Moses Moody's probably going to get some backup minutes at 2-guard. And Jonathan Kuminga is going to get a lot of minutes because he's an athletic wing. Like, it's a lot of dynamics that Draymond Green's really going to have to figure out how to navigate properly. And I feel like these fake apologies that I can tell, like, he's not really truly being honest is just not... I feel like he's really missing the mark leadership-wise right now. Yeah, that's the way I feel.
So I see your perspective, right? But I do have some pushback, right? So...
Okay.
We have to... I guess it comes a point, right? Where I guess we can say, it doesn't really quite matter what was said. You shouldn't have reacted that way, which is true. But there are certain buttons that you push that send people over the edge. Not defending, but just saying that when you're about to get in a fight, right? And the guy approaches you, right? The last thing that you want to do to incite anything is to put your hands on said other person. That's exactly what Jordan Poole did. He played a stupid game. He won a stupid prize. You can't, like, I get what you're saying. He was all up in his space, but whatever was being said, whatever that chit chat was back and forth, I saw some articles that had different opinions. I saw some fake ones. I saw something that I think might have been more toward the truth, where it says that, that Jordan Poole was over there talking about calling Draymond had Jordan Poole was crying about fouls, and Draymond was like, "Oh, he's a B word or whatever." Da 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 da. Okay, not the right thing you should have did there, but we all know how intense Draymond is. We've seen it on the court. This is just what we see in practice. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. He probably did this before, but it probably escalated this time because Jordan Poole was like, "I don't have to take this anymore. I'm about to make more money than you. I have a right to say what I want to say now. I'm not just some little guy who's carrying bags around anymore. I helped win a championship." So maybe he got too big for his britches and he decided to run off at the mouth again. Okay, now I'm about to put you back in check. Not saying that it was right, but this could have been the thought process. So Draymond approaches. Last thing he should have done was put his hands on him, especially in such a heated moment, depending on what was said. Because we don't have any audio on that, we just have video. So from video, it looks like, you know what I mean? It's certain things that can be said that can push those buttons, especially when you're so stressed out because it is a contract year and you're like, okay, I should be getting paid this year. You know what I mean? This guy's going to get paid this year. And you're all just trying to, it's at the beginning of the season. You might have some jitters, whatever. You just came off a championship run. You're feeling good. But everything could implode very quickly. So how I see it is just that he played a stupid game and won a stupid prize. I feel bad. I'm not condoning violence at all, but at that point in time when the tensions are flaring up like that, and like I said, we all know how much of a hothead Draymond Green is, the last thing you should have done was put your hands on that man.
Yeah, it's hard to really come to like a cement, like a solid conclusion without the audio. Yeah. Alrighty, you ready to kick it to the next topic?
Yeah.
All right, last thing we're going to talk about is something, the only thing from preseason that I've seen that I really want to talk about is Zyra Williamson looks phenomenal. Zyra Williamson, look, I saw, I don't know how I did, but like I saw a clip of a 2020 All-Star game where Zyra Williamson's in one of the games, like either I remember that. Either was the All-Star game or was the Rising Star or something along those. And he looked chunky. I was like, man, he looks chunky, but he's still playing in the league. Like he's got 27 points per game. He looks completely different, Chris. Like he looks like what he looked like at Duke. Like you have to understand when you lose weight like that for a guy like Zion, everything is going to have less wear and tear on his legs. He's going to have more stamina. He's going to be faster. His power is still ridiculous. Like all he has to do is be on the floor for 70 games this season, and he could get some MVP votes. And what I mean by that is there's usually 10 guys on a list that get MVP votes. Oh, this is third place. We have fifth place. We're just going to, he might get like 1 or 2 fifth place votes. Like he could make that ballot. Because, theoretically speaking, if he averaged 27, just like he did a few years ago, 27, 10, and 5, because he really is a good passer. 27, 10, and 5, like that's a really phenomenal season. Like this is a guy that could really lead the Pelicans to being a really good team this year. The vitality and how good Zyra Williamson is could really lead to the Pelicans being a dark horse to make it the top 4 seed in the West. Like it's really interesting. So that's what I'm feeling about Zion. What do you think about Zion?
Oh, I could agree with that. I saw like his early like interviews after like right before the preseason, and he just looked ripped, like he was made out of stone. Like, and then given that, okay, now this guy has always been like kind of had a bigger build, so he slims down, gets muscle, and he's still athletic, still can bounce out the gym. Like I don't know if all I saw right from preseason was just a small clip of him jumping up with I don't know who it was, and just it like he was about to dunk on him, and then he switches hands and lays it up. And I'm like, how do you have that much time in the air to do that?
It is athletic freak.
It's just
athletic
crazy. Freak. And I'm just like,
yes,
I can see it. Pelicans could be a top 4 seed.
Yeah.
They have all the pieces. Like we keep forgetting that they have BI, and he's like, just getting better. And then they got CJ McCollum last year. Like they were looking good in the play. I mean, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I can see it happening. I can see them going. I can see them getting that.
They got a lot of length defensively too.
And they have the I think Grand Theft Jose Alvarado,
Herb Jones, Trey Murphy. They drafted Dyson Daniels.
They got some good defense over there too. So.
Yeah, length and pop.
Yeah, length.
Yeah,
length and athleticism. They're gonna be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun to watch. It's gonna be definitely a team I can't wait to watch for sure.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to kick it to the next topic?
Yes, let's go.
All right, so what we're going to do is now we're going to list you guys our standings for each conference, and we're going to talk about teams that stand out to us and talk about, things that we think about record-wise and things we think about individual teams. So in the Eastern Conference, our projected standings is I'll go slow so you guys can listen slowly just so you can keep a mental image in your head of where each team's listed. First seed, we got Milwaukee Bucks. Second seed, we got the Brooklyn Nets. Third seed, we got the Boston Celtics. Fourth seed, we got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Fifth seed, we got the Philadelphia 76ers. Sixth seed, we got the Miami Heat. Seventh seed, we got the Atlanta Hawks. Eighth seed, we got the Chicago Bulls. Ninth seed, we got the Toronto Raptors. 10th seed, we got the Washington Wizards. 11th seed, we got the Charlotte Hornets. 12th seed, we got the New York Knicks. 13 seed, we got the Orlando Magic. 14 seed, we got the Indiana Pacers. And 15 seed, we got the Detroit Pistons. Okay, Chris, what are some things and teams that you want to talk about in the West and just in those rankings? And yeah, what are you thinking, Chris?
Okay, so we have Chicago 8. Did you hear about the Alonzo story? Have you been up on that? He said he can't run or jump right now.
Yeah.
So, is that just depending on if he was able to come back, or if it's just saying
period?
It's period. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's an interesting
No Lonzo,
story.
I still think they'll be 8 seed.
With Lonzo, you think they'll be 8 seed?
Without, I think they'll still be able to make it 8 seed. Okay.
That's a question I did have.
Okay.
Okay, let's start with the Nets. And then
fun times.
Let's start with the Nets. So,
okay.
I remember we talked about this before, right? When Ben Simmons first got traded, right? Because this is just preseason, so we don't really know what the team will look like. Yeah. So when he first got traded, we were talking about it. He was like, "This is a great pickup for the Nets." Even though it takes the ball out of Kyrie's hand. You know what I mean? Let somebody facilitate. And he also plays great defense. Even if he doesn't score a basket, just plays good defense. They're a good team. But then I'm seeing him in preseason. He's like taking some shots, which is good to see. Finally taking some shots. So I mean, I guess I'm just gonna put it. It's hard for me to say anything good about Ben Simmons, but he's been taking and making shots. He's been taking and making shots, and I say that if he could keep this up in the preseason and maybe average like 20, 10, and 5, like I'll be okay with that. Like,
I don't even think he'll average 20. I think it'll be like 14, 10, and 5.
14. I'm saying I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because I've seen what he's been able to, what he was able to do in previous years. So not because if he could do 20, 10, and 5, and you know what I mean, and play defense at a high level like he was, and his mind is right, and he's not sitting out games, then I mean I can see them making the second seed. I can see them going pretty far actually, and possibly giving the Bucks a run for their money.
Yes. Yeah.
They just have too much scoring, way too much scoring on that team, and we all know from last year that KD's not a passer, he's not a thinker, he's a scorer. No. Kyrie's not a passer, he's not a facilitator, he's a scorer. So you take the ball out of their hands and make it checkers for them and chess for Ben, and then that's a win-win situation.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would be extremely high on the Nets if Steve Nash wasn't their gosh darn coach. I would be saying, I'm not kidding, Chris, I would go 66, 68 wins. Okay? That's how high I would be on them because most people don't know they have one of the Morris twins there now. So they got forward and 3-point shooting depth behind KD, and Claxton has slowly been coming along to be able to be a starting center in the NBA. I feel like this is the first year where he'll take that step and he'll be their starting center. So he's a much more athletic center. And, Ben Simmons fills so many holes because he's a 6'10 player that is a defensive player of the year level guy. He's ridiculously gifted defensively. He's going to be a great passer. He's going to play downhill. He's going to attack the basket. And with you put him, KD, and Claxton together, Morris together, that's a lot of height and length. You just suddenly got tall and deep at the wing position. defensively. So I feel like they match up extremely well with a lot of good teams if they're healthy. A few questions I have is, another guy who's 34, I'm not going to give away who's the other person that's 34 as well that I'm kind of worried about, but Kevin Durant's 34. Like, we don't know how much longer Kevin Durant's going to be able to be Kevin Durant. But if Steve Nash wasn't the gosh darn coach, and I didn't have to deal with the stupidness of Steve Nash, this would be a slam dunk for me for NBA championship because of how well these three guys fit together. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Primetime TV, the drama, the injuries, the debates, the fighting internally, like, it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah. And about the Kevin Durant, just real quick. You said that he's 34. You don't know how long he'll be able to be Kevin Durant. I think the style of basketball he plays will aid in his longevity in the league. Because he's not
definitely.
He's not really banging bodies on a daily basis like LeBron and just Iron Man in and out. Like it's gonna be very rare. Like the worst thing that can happen, knock on wood, is that he goes for a jump shot and somebody Zaza's petroleum, and then that's pretty much it. Like other than that, he's not really going downhill too much.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think KD, whenever he does start aging, we do see athletic decreases. I think he's going to look more like Dirk, like a mobile Dirk, where he's just going to be like, I'm going to fade away on you and hit this one step back, and we're just going to be taller than you, and he'll age gracefully. I definitely agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a team you want to talk about next, or do you want me to go to a team that I want to talk about?
I chose last time, so hand it off to you, my friend.
All right. The first team I want to talk about, there's a lot of teams I want to talk about in the East, but the first one is the Boston Celtics. Okay.
Interesting.
The Boston Celtics would have been my number one ranked team because they added Malcolm Brogdon. They still have Marcus Smart. They now have a lot more decision makers. They're gifted defensively. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are special. But where I draw the line here is you guys are about to realize how much an elite coach can make an impact on a basketball team. Mm-hmm. You think they're not going to miss Ime Udoka? Look, there's a reason why the Celtics looked completely different last year than any time previous, was because Ime Udoka was a Greg Popovich disciple. They believe in passing, team defense, and high basketball IQ plays and players. Okay? And he brought that system to Boston, and it looks completely different with Ime than it did before. They installed that system, and they completely negated what their weaknesses used to be. Look, I don't know who the assistant coach is that's taking over right now, but there's going to be a gap. Okay, there's going to be a difference. You can't replace a mind like Ime Udoka with some random guy on the bench, whoever is their assistant head coach. And, even though they have all the talent to win a championship and to be in the NBA Finals and to be the number one seed, and I would have them there, no Ime. You guys are going to see how much a guy like that can impact the team and how much losing him is going to impact the team as well. But don't come out here and blaming Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and those guys when things start not going as well as people may think they're going to be. I still have them as a 3 seed, but don't. It's the fact that they are not going to have as good of a coach. Okay, and Ime Udoka, when you lose a top 5 guy like that, Ime was a top 5 guy last year. We lose a guy like that, there's a huge impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the Boston Celtics?
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think I mentioned it last time we talked. Was that it's going to be a definite, I would say maybe a learning curve because, trying to fit into a new system because you have a brand new coach, you have to, is either he's going to establish the identity as the same as last year because he's the assistant coach and he's going to be like, I'm just going to leave everything the same, or he's going to try to change things. Who knows? And I mean, Ime he made a world of difference. Outside of whatever he might have been doing, that doesn't matter. We're talking basketball here. You saw a different Boston Celtics team once he took over and truly grabbed the reins of that team. that the team we never seen. Like Brad Stevens knew what he was doing when he put him in that position, and we all was like, "Are you sure?" And then he took off. It's just crazy. Who would have thought that the Boston Celtics would look as good as they did last year? I mean,
it was a home run.
It was definitely a home run year for them, and I feel bad for the fans of Boston, inside and outside the city. Is that you lost a gem there, and who knows what your team will look like this year. I mean, I appreciate you giving them the benefit that I was the third seed, just strictly off talent, but we don't know what he'll be like coaching. Like a lot of games are won through the coaching battle. You know what I mean? When you have two great head coaches, that's when you see great basketball played. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's certain strategies that are implemented that allow the game to flow a certain way. You know what I mean? You might see more fouls, less fouls, more shots. You notice these things on the court. You know what I mean? You can pick them out, and we just don't know what. I mean, I don't want to. I'm not going to write them off, right? Because we didn't write Ime off, right? But I'm just going to say it's going to be interesting to see, knowing that these guys have completely bought into one system and may have to buy into another just within a couple months from each other. Yeah.
It's going to this team is going to completely depend on how good that assistant coach is. Because this team can be an NBA championship level. It's an NBA championship level roster. You know what I mean? And if that coach is good enough to be at least average, then we'll be seeing them in the same spot and they'll prove me wrong. But until I see them in game and getting coached, this is where we're going to have them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of doubt there.
Don't become the Phoenix Suns. Don't pop up in the NBA Finals one year and then get knocked out the next year.
Yeah, you tell them, Chris.
Don't be Phoenix.
All right, which team you want to talk about next?
Let's see. I think a team that we should talk about, being that we're both from the same place, is Cleveland Cavaliers. Yeah. Let's go.
Yep.
Cleveland. I'm still in shock that we were able to land such a player. So, every time you ask me about this, and every time I think about it, my mind just goes blank.
So happy.
So happy. It's like that happy song my Pharrell just plays in my head consistently.
Pharrell Williams.
Yeah,
I'm
Pharrell
so
Williams.
Happy.
That's basically what it goes in my head. So, I'm gonna be positive. So, I think that's a good place for them. I think 4. I think they could be a little bit better than 4. I think they finally have put the pieces together to make a deep playoff run. It just all depends on matchups. And when I mean matchups, is that I believe that Cleveland, once we really see how this season starts going, and they're in the how their schedule ends up, we'll notice how they match up against certain teams. So I'm really excited to see that, because especially teams in the East, because the problem with the East, the biggest problem is that there's a Giannis Antetokounmpo in that East. And you have to figure out how to defend Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I feel that Cleveland is finally I think that they figured out maybe possibly, right, a build that can possibly rival the Bucks. Meaning that they just have enough players that they can enough bodies, long, lengthy bodies, they could throw at him. You know what I mean? He's not saying he's not going to drop 25, 10, and it's 5 or 25, 5, and 5. But that's a good night if you stop him from scoring 30 plus points, because he's just unstoppable. So I feel that I feel like it just depends on matchups. When it comes down to it, getting used to each other. And it just depends on matchups. Injuries also will play a factor in this as well.
True. Yeah.
Because it could be one of those seasons where, knock on wood, you could have, your best players always hurt, and then you're just dag, we had it this time. You know what I mean? Now we have to wait till next year. So it's it's good to see, but it's also I'm kind of cautious with it as well, because we've seen teams like this, they build phenomenally, right? And then they automatically the year they're we're finally making a push for the finals, everything goes wrong. And I'm just not saying that it will, knock on wood, because I have a wood desk. It's just saying that I'm very cautious with this. I want to be hype about it, but I'm just cautious. I'm gonna stand back and just watch how the matchups play out and just hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. I think Evan Mobley's the X factor in how good they're going to be. Because if Evan Mobley's dropping 17 next year, this team is going to be the 4 seed, right? Like, this team's going to be really good. If Evan Mobley can push those upper teens and points per game, like I think he can, he develops like I think he can, and though he gets better, then I feel like as he gets better, this team is going to become even better every single year. And as long as Karis LeVert can be used well, and they put all these guys in together, and they get all their minutes, and the dynamics of being a team, and adjusting to Donovan Mitchell as a superstar, it's going to happen. I really think that this team is really solid. I think they're the two big guys in the center position is going to give issues to the Bucks. It's going to give issues to the 76ers. It's going to give issues to the Celtics. It's going to give issues to the Miami Heat because all of them like to attack the basket. Like they really have a unique formula with those two bigs, and I really am excited to watch this team play. Man, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to kick it to my next team that I want to talk about. There's so many good ones still on the board. I'm going to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers.
I figured.
The Philadelphia 76ers are a team that could be anywhere from the 2 seed or the 7 seed, depending on how two players play. And neither one of them is Joel Embiid, because we already know what to expect from him. But the guys I want to see is, look, if James Harden is going to be the same as last year, where it's 20 and 10, and Tyrese Maxey is still a 20-point per game guy, then I think they're probably going to be the 6th, 5th, 4th best team in the East. Around that range, they're not going to push the top 3 because the top 3 in the East is stacked. Now, if we can see James Harden drop 25 and 10, and maybe Tyrese Maxey stays at the same spot, then they'll be pushing the 4 and 3 seed. But if Tyrese Maxey can develop and grow, we see James Harden come back a little bit. Maybe it was an injury last year, and he might come back a little bit more aggressively. They both average 25-ish points per game. I'm not saying it's exactly that, 24, 23, somewhere around those range. This team could be the second best team in the East. It's all dependent on those two because they don't have a lot of great depth. They don't have a lot of great defenders that can be, stand on the floor in space to shoot threes. You know what I mean? They have flaws, but the stars carry. It's going to be completely completely subjective. And I feel like no team in the East could move up higher and move lower based on, two players. So that's what I'm thinking about the 76ers. What do you think about them?
Okay, I understand where you're coming from with that. I do believe that Joel Embiid, we kind of already know where he's going to be at. And I think we talked about this already. James Harden is really, James Harden and Tyrese Maxey, that combo is really going to be the X factor going forward. I could see what you're saying. Like, if they're the same last year, then they won't be as good because they wouldn't be able to push for the high-powered, top 3 of the East. But if James Harden can even show us like a sliver of what he used to be, right? Then we could see them pushing for to maybe top 4. But I don't know if we'll even see that, right? And here's why I'm saying this is because I don't know if how much time you spent on social media or not. But there was a clip of Doc talking to James Harden, right? Did you see that clip by chance? Maybe.
I can think of one off the top of my head. Let me hear what you got to say first.
So he was talking to James, and he was basically, he was saying more he was, it's essentially I'm not going to don't quote me on this, right? But this is what I got from it, that James Harden is going to be essentially the facilitator, right? He's going to facilitate and get everybody else going, and then, then let the game come naturally to him and Joel Embiid once everybody else is going. So if that's the case, then I feel like he's going to be more passing and facilitating and trying to read the defense than taking his own shots. As it's going to be. So I think that we won't see 40. We're not going to see 60. Those times are over. I think as best we can expect for this season is 20, 10, and 10, if anything.
Yeah, I guess I can see where you're coming from. It depends on how much he, gets his shots up or not. You know what I mean?
But
it's interesting.
Exactly. But then in the other case is that even if James Harden remains the same and or takes a step back and just strictly focuses on passing the ball more, right? And just takes a couple shots here and there and let the game come naturally. They still have Tyrese Maxey.
Yeah.
Who has a high upside. Now,
True.
I'm going to say if we see 20 from James Harden, 2010 and 10, right? That's the best case scenario, right? 2010 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
If we could see 25, 6 and 7 from like Tyrese Maxey, where he might have like a 30-point game here and there, yeah. I would bet on that team to push for the 4th seed more than I would if they were exactly the same player.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's an interesting team. It's gonna be a lot of fun to watch to see how well everybody's moving together. And yeah, all right. I think you have next pick.
Hey, I'm gonna choose your favorite team. Let's go with the Atlanta Hawks.
Oh, okay.
Let's go with Atlanta. Okay. So Atlanta made a move, right? This offseason and got
DeJounte Murray. Yeah.
Now, I think that it's not a great move, but it is an underrated move because I think that it gives them more guard play that they desperately need. Not saying that Trey can't pass the ball because he does pass the ball great. He takes a lot of those long shots. You know what I mean? But I think that the height that DeJounte Murray brings to that position, and being able to facilitate, will work wonders. Because Trey is undersized. We all know this. He's a short guy. He's a short guy on the court. You know what I mean? With the biggest heart and talks the most crap. But
swaggiest.
I think that Ice Trader Gang. I think that he has that this team could. I'm sorry, where'd you have him?
Atlanta Hawks are 7th, right?
7th. I think that might be a good place for him, but I think that depending on how the East rolls out, because I don't know. I have to look at their roster again, because if they still have that weakness, then I'll leave them there. But if they fixed it somehow, then I can move them up, because I think that they have enough firepower to be that high-powered Atlanta team we've seen a couple years ago. I think that adding DeJounte Murray was a good pickup. Give us some defense, give us some, a little bit more guard play. And we just have to, I just wonder how John Collins is going to look, because he had like 25 last year, right? He had a couple 25-point games. Like, is there going to be anything different? Have you worked on anything? Or will we see more of the same where it's just, I'm athletic and that's it?
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the same issue I have from them from last year is the same issue, the question mark I have for them is defense. Like, they can score with anybody, okay, but they can't defend anybody last year. So, DeAndre Hunter is the best defender on their team. How healthy is Clint Capella? Is Onyeka Ongaku ready to push for the center position? How much better is John Collins going to be at the defense? Because he does have defensive potential with his athletic gifts. I feel like DeJounte Murray's a pretty solid defender, so it might be a little bit of an upgrade, but they still got like Bogdanovich and guys off the bench that really aren't good defenders. Like, it's going to be interesting to see how good they can be defensively, and then I feel like that's going to determine how they can be as a team. I feel like they're missing a few things. They just need to upgrade their roster a little bit, but it's okay. This is a 7th. They've earned their 7th seed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to kick it to my next team on my list that I want to talk about, my 3rd team, and it's the Miami Heat. They're the 6th ranked team in the East in our rankings. I'm going to have to tell you guys why, because they've been a staple of being a highly ranked good team for a very, very long time. Jason, why? Well, unless Jay Crowder gets traded to them, because he hasn't gotten traded yet, he might go to Miami, and this might fix my worry. They have had the formula since Jimmy Butler has been in Miami of having a wing next to Jimmy that can play defense. They had Jay Crowder for a while. They had one of the Morris twins for a while. They just had PJ Tucker. That has been the winning formula since Jimmy's been there. And it's important that I explain this to you guys because you might be thinking, why would Jimmy need another wing defender? He's a phenomenal defender. Well, he needs another wing defender because he's the main guy on offense and he needs to have the energy to attack offensively. He might play great defense in spurts, but he's not going to, if he's forced to guard guys like KD and guard Jason Tatum one-on-one all night, he's not going to be able to produce the way he used to be scoring-wise. So they kind of lost the key to their formula from that sense. And Kyle Lowry looked really, really old last year. And they really haven't found a replacement for him. They didn't draft anybody that's a backup point guard. I don't really see them filling that hole. So, and on top of that, how much is Tyler Hero still your sixth man? Like if you're not going all in on scoring points, then you're not going to be that good next year, comparatively speaking to what you've been. And, they did draft some guys like Nikola Jovic that I really love, but he's going to be the Heat really don't start guys off like that. They usually bring them off the bench. They slowly develop them and stuff like that. That's the way they work in his organization. So I'm extremely worried about this team because they just don't have the things that used to make them work. And, no wing guy over there. I don't know who's going to be the one defending all those guys one-on-one, and that's why I'm not as high on the Heat this year. This is the first time since we've been doing this podcast that I've ever seen a Heat team that have been like, your roster does not fit your culture.
Mm-hmm. I can see
so
that. I can see exactly where you're coming from. Actually, I completely understand and agree with where you're coming from. Because I think Jay Crowder was on that team that made the push in the bubble.
Yes.
I just don't like that for once the Heat just didn't add anything since last year. Like, I think that Spoelstra is a smart enough coach. The Heat organization has been proven enough to understand that they understand the basketball and the system that they run. So, I mean, they will see the glaring thing that, okay, Kyle Lowry is not what we thought he was going to be. You know what I mean? We need to make a push to replace and or give him a solid backup. I mean, you don't have Goran Dragic anymore, been gone.
Yeah.
Nunn has been gone. So you don't have anything to lean on anymore. You have Kyle Lowry. So, I mean, maybe if you want to say, like, okay, Vic might come in every once in a while, but he's a shell of his former self every once in a while. So it's like, you can't really depend on anybody. So I feel like this was a bad offseason for them, and it's going to translate into the regular season. And then maybe they'll wake up in the middle of the season and go, wait a second, we don't have any guards. Wait a second, we don't have any wings that can defend. Wait a sec, you know what I mean? But then by that time it'll be too late. And I just don't want it to be too late for them because they have been a pretty decently run organization. And like I said, they've shown that they understand the game and their system and the system in which they perpetuate with their players. So I feel like I don't understand what's missing right now. Like not what the team is missing, but what the front office doesn't understand right now. Like why haven't you made any moves?
Yeah,
they completely just didn't do anything. It was like, oh, we're definitely getting Donovan Mitchell, but didn't make any moves. Like,
yeah. I completely agree with you, Chris. I feel like this is one of the rare times that the Miami Heat offense front office made a mistake. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everybody's human. This has been one of the greatest run organizations since Pat Riley took it over. So it's really interesting. All right, so you're next.
Let's see. East.
We still have Milwaukee Bucks, Chicago Bulls, Raptors, Wizards, Hornets, Knicks, Magic, Pacers, Pistons.
I want to go with the Magic, right?
Ooh, that's exactly what I wanted to talk about. Oh, I was going to talk about it real quick. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, you're true basketball addicts when you really like the Orlando Magic and want to talk about them. I'm just going to say that now.
So, why I like the Orlando Magic? I like the Orlando Magic because of Bol Bol.
Oh, okay. It wasn't even coming up with my topic point, but okay. Let's hear it.
Yeah. Because he was with the Pistons. I'm sorry. Is he with the Pistons or the Magic? Did he get traded to the Magic?
He's the Magic. I think he's with the Magic.
I think he's the Magic.
He's been moving around so much. Last time I checked, he's with the Magic.
Okay, good. Yeah, I like the Paulo Banchero. I like Jalen Suggs, even though he got hurt. Hopefully, he comes back soon. I like what they had, the young core they have over there. It's really exciting.
Yes.
I'm really excited to finally see Bol Bol touch the floor because he's with a younger team, so he's going to get more minutes. And I loved him in college, so it was like, oh yeah, like, let's see. Yeah, I just love that young team. Really, when I look over there, I'm like, dang, like they can be something in a couple of years. Finally, the Orlando Magic will be returning to semi glory. I'm not gonna say they're gonna look like 2010 Magic right off the back, but they're gonna get there close. They're gonna be close. They have a lot of young talent with a lot of high upside, and they're gonna be something. They're gonna be something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad you brought this team up, Chris, because I really wanted to talk about them too. And I feel like 2 years from now, they could be looking for playoff spots. What I really love about this team is position by position. I love Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba has slowly, under the radar, developed into a really solid young center. He's the 3-point shots coming along. He's a really good shot blocker at the rim. He's athletic. He's lanky. He's really growing into what he was drafted for. Paulo Banchero, 6'10", really long, lanky forward. They got Franz Wagner, who's 6'9", a really good passer, point forward type that can really shoot the three as well, highly skilled. They have Jonathan Isaac as well. They have a really good 3-forward rotation with Jonathan Isaac, who's a 6'11" defensive freak.
I thought Jonathan Isaac was still hurt.
No, he's coming back this year. He's coming back this year. Yeah, he was COVID last year. That's the reason he didn't play. But Jonathan Isaac's really long, lanky, good defensive guy. So they got a lot of height at the forward position as a team. Jalen Suggs fits on this team because he's the connective passer, may not be like as great of a scorer, but he's going to pass and rebound well and be high basketball IQ. And Cole Anthony's the scoring guard from those two. And I really love their head coach. I talked about it last season as well. I really feel like this team is going to be a fun NBA League Pass watch, and I'm excited to see this team grow, man. They have a lot of good things that are going to make them a good team moving forward.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
Totally agree. I forgot about Mo Bamba for a second, but yeah, I totally agree with that. They have a lot of height. A lot of height.
Yes.
That's good for the East. That's good for the East. That means they can contend with some of those long, lanky teams.
I completely agree. Yeah. It's going to be fun to watch.
I might just add them on Link Pass as my favorite team and just watch all of their games just to see.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can't really think of any other team that's not in the playoffs that I want to talk about, so I'll talk about the Bucks. That'll be my last team, and then we'll move to the West. Unless you want to talk about anybody else. I might talk about another team for like 30 seconds. But the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, for me, you're about to see a really phenomenal version of Giannis. This is going to be, they're really good in the regular season. They are going to have still Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. Jordan Nwora is somebody off the bench that how much he develops is going to determine how well I view this team, because he's a shot creator off the bench. And they don't have anybody that can do anything with the ball in their hands that's not named Giannis, Drew Holiday, and Chris Middleton, other than shoot a three and, oh my gosh, the guy's closed out too far, I'm going to go get a layup, right? Like it's really simple offense, and Giannis is just so great that this team is going to be really good. This is one of those teams that will do really well in the regular season, but if the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics are healthy, I don't think they'll go as far as people think in the playoffs, because these top tier teams with those top tier talent are going to give this team issues. But I think we're about to see Giannis greatness, and this is Giannis greatness, Giannis greatness, Giannis greatness, and Giannis greatness. That's what we're about to see. So, what do you think, Chris?
I can see that. It's okay. So the way the Bucks are set up, right? It's always been Giannis, right? It's always been okay. Depending on how Giannis plays, determines if we win games or not. And I think this is what we're going to see more of. And I think that the way that Giannis has been growing and developing, especially over the league, the summer when he was in Europe, and we were seeing take certain shots and taking certain shots and try different things out. I think as long as that translates over, which I'm 100% sure it will, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with.
Yes.
And you look at all; they still have the same core kind of. Giannis, still have Bobby Porter, still have those long guys who can shoot. So it's just going to be more of the same. I can see them taking the first seed. I don't want to say that they're the Houston Rockets because I hope not, because I believe that there is a playoff Giannis that exists. So I'm not going to say that they're the Houston Rockets. But I do see where you're coming from. I do say that depending on the matchup, it depends on the matchup and how well that matchup plays together. Meaning the Brooklyn Nets, right? If they somehow are not clicking, which I like,
could happen.
I'm like 50-50 on that, right?
Yeah, could happen.
If they're not clicking, then they could run through the Nets, But if the Nets are clicking, then they can take it 7, and then it'll be a deciding game. So it just kind of just depends on their matchups and how well they're gelling. Because if we're doing 1 and 2. I mean, they might not see the Nets until later on, depending on where they fall, actually. But it just depends on how they play against the Nets during the season.
I agree. I completely agree, Chris. It's really going to be dependent on that. It's really going to be dependent on, the Nets. The Boston Celtics have a head coaching issue. The Nets have chemistry and head coaching issue. And the Philadelphia 76ers have James Harden and Tyrese Maxey question marks. But if those teams are at their best, they will all beat the Bucks. They could all beat them. You know what I mean? They could all beat them by a lot. They could all beat them by a margin just because of team talent. And it depends on the question marks and what they are and how they get answered. So that's the East is talented, but a lot of question marks. That's the way I feel like I would describe the East in 5 seconds.
Yeah, talented, but a lot of question marks for sure.
Yeah. And I'm just going to spend like 20 seconds talking about one thing. If you like to watch League Pass, I'm telling you right now, Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey are going to be electric to watch playing together. Just going to say that. I'm not going to go overly in depth, but the Detroit Pistons will at least have 2 people that you can watch and have fun watching. All right.
So we're going to team too.
Yeah. Are you ready to transition to the West?
Yeah, let's hit the West.
All right. Same structure as the East. We're going to go slow so you guys can hear every team and every on the standings. So, number 1 team in the West for us is the Golden State Warriors. Number 2 is the Los Angeles Clippers. Number 3 is the Memphis Grizzlies. Number 4 is the Phoenix Suns. Number 5 is the Denver Nuggets. Number 6 is the Dallas Mavericks. Number 7 is the New Orleans Pelicans. Number 8 is the Lakers. Number 9 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. Number 10 is the Portland Trailblazers. Number 11 is the Sacramento Kings. Number 12 is the Houston Rockets. Number 13 is the Utah Jazz. Number 14 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. And number 15 is the San Antonio Spurs. All right, Chris, you can choose the first team you want to talk about.
I think it's best that we get this out of the way now. Let's talk about the Lakers.
Okay. Dun, dun, dun.
Okay. So, Lakers, right? They made a lot of, moves that a lot of people were like, why? And then they made a couple that was like, okay. Like the Pat Bev move, I was like, okay.
He's good.
And then, the whole time, they're just like, Russ is leaving. And then here comes preseason and Russ is still here. Not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm just like, maybe they don't work out. So I understand why we have them. I do, but I just want to believe. I want to believe that we'll see a different level of Anthony Davis. And I think that's where we're at right now, right? I think that so LeBron's like 37, right? He's probably more than likely breaking the record this year.
Hey!
He's going to break the record this year.
Yes, sir.
Number 1 in points, right? AD takes over, right, as the number 1 option of that team. If he can stay healthy, right, and play maybe 50, 60 games, right?
Keep it reasonable.
50, 60 games, right? Just being reasonable. If he can
It's
play
Anthony
60
Davis.
games,
You're right.
and play those games at a high level,
Yeah.
and be consistent in those games, then I can see them being like a 6
Moving
seed.
up.
I can see them moving up, and that's
Mhm,
all.
it's
Like
true.
I want to believe. I want to believe,
Yeah.
but they make it really hard to believe. Like, I mean, like in his preseason game, I don't want to be like, oh yes, the preseason we finally got a healthy AD, but like he looked great. It's just like, but you already got back problems already. It's just a preseason.
He's got ice on everything. Preseason game 1.
That,
my goodness.
That scares me a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that if the Lakers, knock on wood, right? If the Lakers never win again, and they only win in the only championship they get out of this new decade was in the bubble, then they'll be one of the greatest failure to launch teams because they have extreme talent right now. AD's a top 5 player. That's it. I mean, like when
top 10
when
right
he's
now.
Top 10 right now, but he's supposed to be heralded as a top 5 player.
True.
They'll be one.
You could say top 5 talent.
Yeah, he's top 5 talent, but he's a top 10 player. He's they will be a great example of a failure to launch team, considering that you have LeBron. He's aging gracefully right now, but he just doesn't have a good number 2 right now. And then you have, I mean, like, you have Russ shooting him out of games. But it just all depends, like, because I saw some things online, and, you shouldn't believe everything you see online. That's what Abraham Lincoln said, if you catch the joke.
I did not catch the one. Flew completely over my head. Never heard of that one before.
I said Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln said, "Don't believe everything you read online."
But the internet wasn't around back then.
Exactly.
Oh. Okay.
I read that online.
Okay, that's funny. Okay, I got it now.
I read that online. So I saw a video online, and it was just like, oh, he was taking shots, and he won a game of force with AD and LeBron, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna get excited about that. Make some shots in the game, make some good decisions in the game. Show us why we thought that you were a great addition. Why you were great on OKC. I know the game's gonna change a little bit because you're not gonna be as ball dominant as you would like to. Your usage is gonna go down. But if the coach can figure out how to incorporate rest, I feel like the team could be good. But it just depends on AD at this point because every year. It's championship or bust, pretty much. Like that's the level of team that you have. It's championship or bust. So I think it just depends on how the coach can incorporate rest, and if AD is going to step up or step back.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from in this. Where it's a terribly built team. Rob Pelinka just got like an extension through to 2025 or something like that.
That was 26.
2026, you're right. And, this guy is a terrible GM. AD, I question his work ethic. I can't trust him. Everything is going down statistically for him. 3-point percentage, efficiency, the way he looks on the floor. He said he didn't touch a basketball for like a month or whatever it was. Came out a while back. And this team is terribly built. I mean, Thomas Bryant, Patrick Beverley, Wayne Ellington, Lonnie Walker, Kendrick Nunn, Melo, Bazemore, Bradley, Dwight Howard. Like this team is just terribly built. And Russell Westbrook, if you don't trade him, this team is not going to go anywhere. He just doesn't fit with LeBron James. He takes up so much cap space that I just, it's sad to see LeBron age this way on a team that's not utilizing him correctly. And hopefully he can get out of it next year. You know what I mean? 38, go somewhere and ring chase for a little bit or play with your son. I don't know. I don't think Bronny's that old yet, but he's getting closer.
Yeah,
that's what I think about the Lakers.
But actually, no. It's a rule change. They can come out of high school now again.
Really?
I recently saw that there was a rule change. You can come out of high school now. You can declare in high school, I think now. If I read that right, I think I did see that somewhere. Then again, Abraham
It
Lincoln.
doesn't look like it. They did that.
It's
And I don't
not
think they changed the rules.
I could have sworn I read something like that. What was the rule change? There was a rule change for sure about that, about eligibility for the draft.
I do not know, but it doesn't look like that's not what it is right now.
No, maybe it's in a couple. Maybe it's down the line then.
Maybe it is. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Yeah. All right. You ready to go to the next team in the West I'm going to talk about?
Yeah.
The next team I want to talk about is the second-rated team on our rankings. Somebody I'm high on, right across the street, the Clippers. Yep, the LA Clippers, man. Let me read off this roster real quick for you. Zubac, Marcus Morris, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, John Wall, Reggie Jackson, Covington, Robert Covington, Luke Kennard, Norman Powell, Terrence Mann, Nicholas Batum, Rodney Howard, Reggie Jackson, Amari Coffey, Moses Brown, and Brandon Boston. You know what I just heard? That is an extreme... This is one of, in the past 25 years, top 10 best benches I've ever seen. Okay.
Did you pick John Wall?
Yeah, John Wall's on the team. Well, yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear you say John Wall. That's what I was like, did you
John Wall as well. I mean, think about their bench, okay? John Wall's going to start. Reggie Jackson's on the bench. They got Norman Powell, who's not going to start. He's going to be on the bench. They got Covington, who's not going to start. He's going to be on the bench. They got Marcus Morris, who might start, or it's going to be either him or Luke Kennard or Terrence Mann or Nicholas Batum. You got all these guys. Like, the only thing is the center position is very below average, but everything else, this is like a historically great bench that they got going here, and John Wall is going to be the passer that they've needed for a very, very long time. And now you're going to talk about Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and this team's going to be great defensively. I really think that this team is an NBA championship level team right now, and they're going to be fun to watch. It's going to be fun to see Kawhi Leonard in the NBA again, and I'm extremely excited to see the Clippers play. And I want to hear Chris, what do you think about the Clippers? So yeah, Chris, I'm really, really high on the Clippers, and I want to hear what you have to think. What do you think about them heading into next season?
I think the biggest thing is that Kawhi is back, right? He didn't play, last year. Well, he played a little bit. No, he didn't play at all because he got hurt the year prior. So he didn't play at all last year. And they didn't really do what we thought they would do, as far as like going deep to the playoffs because they were missing Kawhi. But Kawhi's pictures now, and he was rehabilitating. His legs look humongous. I mean, like this guy just looks built and like he put on a lot of like extra muscle. So that's gonna be more problems. I can see them going deep into the playoffs. I can definitely see that happen. I think that depending on how this year goes, regular season into the playoffs, if they could solidify themselves as the better team in LA, because they just have too much. They have a really, really, really deep team that they can switch it up and however they want to bench, and start and still be able to play against like teams like the Warriors, who also have a really deep squad, who they can go deep like 1 to 12, and that's what it really takes in the West. The difference between the East and the West is that in the West it used to be okay, we need to stop Curry, but now it's like who has a deeper team, like who can like shell out all these different lineups and stuff like that to counteract what the Warriors have, because they just have so many different things they can throw at you. And in the East, it's like, okay, we just have to worry about LeBron, but now it's like Giannis is our big problem. So we have to figure out how we can, increase our length in order to be able to have to throw bodies at Giannis so that we can slow him down just a little bit, and then still be able to score at a high clip.
Yeah.
So I think that they have the perfectly built team for the West, considering how it's built now, how most teams in the West are built. Especially with PG and Kawhi, that's a defensive two-headed monster, and then you have their bench as well that can defend and score as well. So I think they have a good chance at possibly dethroning the Warriors if they can get the right matchups going forward.
Yeah, I agree. This is going to be a really great team next year, Chris.
Yeah.
All right, so what team do you want to talk about next? Because I already know you're going to talk about two teams individually. I already know they're going to at least pick two teams, so I'm interested who you're going to choose next.
Well, let's go with Denver Nuggets.
It's one of the two. I already knew. Okay, let's talk about it, Chris.
Okay. Denver, right? I haven't watched any preseason for Denver, but this is just my honest opinion. Jamal Murray coming back. The team looks a lot different. Okay, we gave Michael Porter Jr. some time to develop. He got hurt. Okay, he had a taste of playoff action where it was just him and Jokic, and he had to show up, and he knows what it feels like to not show up in those big moments now. Mm-hmm. I am hoping that he has taken that heartbreak, internalized it, and turned it into basketball ability. As long as he has hit the gym and we see something different, maybe he put on some more muscle. Maybe he worked on his shot more. Maybe he's going to be, I don't know what he's going to do. But if he can do that along with Jamal Murray and Jokic's pick and roll, which we already know what we're getting out of that every single time. And that is like a deadly pick and roll because they both stretch the floor so well and pass well. I can see the Nuggets giving a lot of teams to run through their money because Jokic is just phenomenal. Yeah. Jamal Murray coming off injury. I can't wait to see Jamal Murray play again. And I'm just excited about Michael Porter Jr. I'm excited about their big three. Mm-hmm. And it only depends on if Michael Porter Jr. takes that step forward because we already know what we're going to get from Jamal Murray and Jokic. So it's like it just depends on if MPJ can take a step forward, then I'm high on the Nuggets. If not, I'm still high on the Nuggets because they have Jamal Murray back, and I'm just happy about the Nuggets.
Yeah, having Jamal Murray back is huge for them as a team, and it's going to make great basketball to watch. I feel like the Nuggets didn't feel the same without him. Yeah. Michael Porter Jr., he's a wild card depending on how well he's developed and what skills he's going to show next season. I feel like they've kind of made room for Bones Highland to grow. I think you might see him coming off the bench a little bit more this year because they no longer have Will Barton or Marcus Morris. It was somebody with the last name Monte Morris. Monte Morris. Yeah, they moved them both to the Wizards, and they got back like KCP and somebody else. But Bones Highland will probably get more minutes, and I feel like they don't have any I don't think they're going to have any big changes from the Denver Nuggets we used to know, but I feel like they're still going to be battling for the top 4 seed in the West. This is still a really good team. This is still a team that it's going to be a tough matchup in the playoffs when you face them. This is basically the same old for the Nuggets, I think, personally. So, then once they have these two guys back, and then they let these young guys grow and see how much they grow, and we'll be able to accurately guess how much better they're going to be depending on those young pieces. Yeah.
Yeah. I just hope that it doesn't turn into a chemistry problem, right? Because, and not to spend too much time on this, but because, like Jokic has got one of the biggest contracts in the league. Jamal Murray is like, he's just coming back off injury. Hopefully it doesn't turn into like, okay, this is my team now. It used to be your team. I'm taking over type of thing. I just hope it doesn't turn into like a chemistry thing. I don't feel like Jokic is that kind of player, but I just hope it doesn't become that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right, we're going to go ahead and kick it to the next team. The next team that I want to talk about is the Golden State Warriors. This team is, how much I love Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr is the greatest coach in the NBA. It's not even really close right now. He's got a huge lead. The interesting factor, as I said earlier, somebody else in the league is turning 34, and it's Steph Curry. Steph Curry is 34 in this season. So it's going to be interesting to see because his game, people might say, oh, he's going to age well because of his shooting. Well, he's never been a great athlete. Great athletes are more of the type of players that age gracefully, like a LeBron James. Compare LeBron and Melo aging. Because Melo was never the athlete LeBron was. So as they aged, LeBron was still, I may not be jumping as high, but I'm still jumping high. Steph has never been a great athlete. So even though he might start, if he starts losing a little bit of athleticism, it's going to, because the whole scheme is built around Steph. If Steph can't put up more than 25 a game, it's going to be interesting to see how they fill that gap. Now, Jordan Poole would be the obvious choice for that, which is why they're such a stacked team. But it's going to be interesting to see what version of Steph we're seeing next year. But I'm excited to see what James Wiseman is. I feel like this team's extremely deep. They just got done winning a championship. They're going to be focused this season. They know who they are. They have an identity, and they're healthy right now. And I'm expecting the Warriors to be the best record in the whole league. So I have them 66 wins. And I think it's going to be fun to watch guys like Jonathan Kuminga, Wiseman, and Poole grow into their roles even more. And this is a phenomenal team. I can't wait to watch.
I'm big on the Warriors too. I can definitely agree with them being the number one seed. I mean, the way Curry plays, it's just hard to see him. It's hard for me to see him digress at all. But it is possible, considering that he, like you said, he never was a true athlete. He was always like, a smaller guy, had to shoot, run around screens and stuff like that. And he is the focal point of their offense. So it is good that they do have a player like Jordan Poole. So I'm going to say that I can see it happening, right? But it all depends on what their chemistry looks like going forward from this situation. How they bounce back. How they bounce back will be the biggest what if going forward this season. Because it's like, because that can mess up chemistry for sure. Or maybe it can make everybody stronger. Who knows? But
go both ways.
It could go both ways. So we just have to that's kind of like, that's a waiting game because you know what you're going to get from Curry, you know what you're going to get from Clay. True. But just the chemistry that you might be missing from the Warriors this year, between depending how long Draymond is out, you know what I mean? He's normally the primary ball handler with all these what are they called? With all the scores and the way he what is it called?
Initiates the offense.
Yes, that too. But
passing.
The passing, but what what I mean? Like he does like the handoff post, with the handoff with the scores. Okay. You know what I mean? Like
dribble handoff.
The dribble handoff. Yeah. So it's like that could be the chemistry could be messed up there. Who knows? Without him being in the lineup, because he said he's gonna take a couple games. He's gonna take a couple days off. You don't know when he's coming back. So it's like that element will be missing. And you put not saying that I don't think the Warriors are going to change too much, but he is kind of like the leader, So I think it just kind of just depends on what the team looks like. What the team looks like post this altercation, post this situation. For me,
I agree. Yeah. Well, you can go ahead and pick your next team.
Utah Jazz.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Was this one of the teams that you were banking on me picking?
No, not at all.
Oh.
I didn't see this coming at all.
I just want to talk shit. That's it.
This is, they're tanking.
They're tanking? That's what we're going to call it?
They're tanking.
I call it being a poorly run organization. I call it being the worst run organization in the league. I'm gonna call it why can't you keep a coach? What happened with Quinn Snyder? Why was Donovan Mitchell refusing to play? I call it what are you doing there? Like you look like the Sacramento of old. That's bothering me because like you draft all these old players then you take all this young talent. Taylor Horton-Tucker doesn't look like the same player anymore. So what did you really get? You're gonna lose bad. You're not gonna yeah, you make. I don't know. Everybody's trying to enter the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, but I mean, like, dang, like you just, jeez, they got 0 for 82, 0 for 82.
Yeah, they're gonna be 20 wins below. It's gonna be either 20 or below that. That's how.
0 for 82, just terrible. Just a poorly run organization. Period.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you were expecting Quinn Snyder to do stuff with all these old heads and Donovan Mitchell. Like, what do you? And then you had a guy on your team, which I'm so happy. That's the only thing that you did right. That you was get rid of was Trey Gobert. That's the only thing you did right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Other than that, it was just like nothing after that. Everything else is downhill. You're gonna look terrible. You know, you're gonna get Victor Wembanyama maybe, but hopefully by the luck of the, hopefully by the basketball guys, they don't allow anything like that to happen because you don't deserve them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's. I definitely feel like Danny Ainge kind of took over that GM spot after they made those trades. I feel like from here on out, it's going to be different. But I completely agree with you that, you know, they had a point in time there where they had a good core with Devin Mitchell a few years ago, and if they would have just not paid Rudy Gobert so much gosh darn money, then we wouldn't be in this situation. But you know, they had to give him the max basically. So
yeah.
They did bad things poorly, but yeah, it's a nice dig. I'm going to go ahead and kick it to the next team that I have on my list is the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks, I have 6th, and I want to talk about them real quick because this is a team that Luka is going to carry, okay? If Luka is not on this team, they're in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes, okay? And they have a good shot at winning it with between them and the Sacramento Kings and Utah Jazz, okay? That's how bad this roster is. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie, Christian Wood, you know, Maxi Kleber, like, these guys are good role players, good 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th guys on your roster, but they don't have a 3 or 2 that I trust. You know what I mean? And it's going to be Luka Magic. He's going to put up MVP numbers because he's been getting all the shots. Jalen Brunson's no longer there, so it's not like, you know, Spencer Dinwiddie is still going to get shots up, but it's not like, you know, they have Jalen Brunson to get shots up as well. This team, you know, it's going to be greatly coached. It's going to be Luka Doncic putting on an amazing performance every night, but they're not going to do a lot in the regular season or the playoffs because they just don't have much else other than Luka. And, you know, hopefully they can make a strategic move. They got to make a move to get somebody next to Luka, man.
Yeah, and that's been their constant thing is that they had Porzingis. You know, traded Porzingis away. He had Jalen Brunson, traded Jalen Brunson away. Even though I don't see Jalen Brunson as like a definitive 2, I mean, like it was better than, you know, nothing. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do going forward because you have to like, you have a lot of like aging players and players that maybe some people might want. Just move them around. Move around, see what you can get. See if you can luck up and get anything. You know, something that you can rely on. To, okay, look, if Luka's going to give us like 30, just give us like 15 to 20. You know, just give us something. Yeah. Something is average to something tonight. Don't be 40 and then everybody else got 7 or 9 points. It's just like this doesn't work.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So, what team's next for you, Chris?
I'm thinking.
Teams that haven't been chosen is the Grizzlies, Suns,
Grizzlies,
Pelicans. I had a feeling you were gonna. That's who I thought it was. When I said that, I thought Grizzlies, Nuggets. I never would have guessed Jazz.
I just wanted to talk.
What do you think about the Grizzlies?
Grizzlies. I'm high on the Grizzlies. I'm really on. I've always been high on the Grizzlies. I'm excited about the Grizzlies this year. I just want the Grizzlies to win. I think that they have a chance. They have a chance every year, but I think that they're getting to that age in basketball years, right? Because they've been together for about 2-3 years now. I think they're going on their third year now. They're growing together, getting to know each other, knowing what they're used to. They had a great season last year. Just build on that momentum, come out swinging. I think that it's all like basketball is a game of runs and matchups, so it just depends on the matchup. And I think that they could play with pretty much the best of them, honestly. I don't think that there's too much else missing. I think they have Steven Adams. I mean, like, you already have a center who's like, he knows what he's supposed to do, is to grab rebounds and just protect everybody. So it's just like, I don't see them needing too much more. As long as they can have that consistent scoring core that they have of like Desmond Bane, John Morant, and what is the other guy's name? I can't think of his name. The shooting guard,
Dylan Brooks.
As long as they can keep that going, you know what I mean, and then still incorporate Jaren Jackson and all those other guys over there, then I still see them. I mean, I'm not gonna say they'll win it all, but I can see them going deep into the playoffs again.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This team's got a really good chemistry. I feel like they really have high-tier chemistry. They've been in the playoffs multiple times, so they have really good playoff experience. And I think Ja is going to keep on growing. You know, he was showing flashes of shooting 3-point shots off the dribble and shot creating for himself back there. It's going to be interesting to see how much farther that develops. And the other player I want to talk about is Zyra Williams. Zyra Williams was a lottery pick last year. I really liked him coming out of the draft. 6'9", shot creator, can hit threes, really smooth. And it's going to be interesting to see how much more he develops this season. So to see how much more this team can be record-wise and to see if he can break the starting lineup. And it's going to be interesting for me to see how good he's going to be. But I really like this Grizzlies team as well. I mean, I've been winning 52 games. I really, really feel like this team has great chemistry, solid coach. He's not a top 5 coach, but he's definitely top 12 in the league. So I really feel like they have a lot of good things moving for them right now in the right direction.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to kick it to the next team, even though there's still a few other teams I want to talk about. But my next team is the Pelicans. We talked about it a little bit earlier with Zion. Zion is looking great. It's going to be really interesting to see how good he's going to be this year. This team could be anywhere from the 4 seed to the 7th seed based on how well Zion and Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum all mesh together. And I really feel like they can be a really, really good team this year. I'm really excited to watch the Pelicans play, and the Pelicans have a really good team for the first time in a while. And Chris, what do you think about the Pelicans?
I'm loving the Pelicans. I think that you hit the nail right on the head when you said that it could be anywhere from the 4 to the 7. That just clearly depends on their superstar player, Zion Williamson. As long as he can stay on the court, that's the biggest thing. Staying on the court.
Yes.
So we know that when he's on the court, he's a monster. He can't be stopped. Yeah. He's not as tall, but like man, when he jumps, he's like it's like no stopping that. Once he's in the air, you're just like you're coming down and he's still climbing. It's just
I completely agree.
You have to I think that as long as they can incorporate Zion back in and, you know, mesh really well, because they have, Zion can shoot a little bit, but you really don't have to worry about that. They have CJ and BI. I mean, they just, everybody just got to get it together, mesh well, get the chemistry up. You know, it's going to take a couple games, you know what I mean? Because CJ's kind of new. Zion's new as well. I mean, he's not new because he is new because he hasn't played. But it looks like he's in the best shape of his life right now. So I think this might be look, you said earlier that he might get some MVP votes. I mean, I think that we might be seeing prime Zion this year.
Yeah, it'd be fun to watch. To watch. I completely understand. Yeah.
So I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to just see what they become because I have high hopes for this team actually.
Yeah, I agree. All right. So do you want to list off your next team or do you not have any more teams? Because I only want to talk about 2 more teams quickly.
Go ahead. Go with yours.
Okay, Minnesota Timberwolves. Okay, so let me explain to you guys. Even though I have the Minnesota Timberwolves winning 44 games, I just feel the West is really deep, and they might be the 9th seed. But the reason why I'm not as high on the Timberwolves as everybody else is going to be, and I don't think Chris is going to be as well, is because when you pair Rudy Gobert and Cat together, you have an extreme defensive weakness. It is because 80% of 80% of plays in the NBA start with a pick and roll. They start with some sort of screen to get the guard to get open and get into space. Okay, in NBA, the league switches; they don't stay. So what that means is they either switch or they're in drop coverage. A lot of times, guys like Rudy Gobert and Cat are in drop coverage, which means they're next to the center, next to the goal, next to the hoop, and they're going to expose this team because they're so big and lanky but slow at the power forward and the center position. And it's going to be the same issue that the Utah Jazz used to have every time they get in the playoffs. They used to face the Warriors and the Nuggets, and any team that had any good guards, they got torn to shreds. And it's going to happen again. And, it's a fit problem for me more so than the grandiose view of they have a lot of talent on the team. You know what I mean? They do have a lot of talent. I'm excited to see Anthony Edwards, you know what I mean? But this team is just really, 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 really poorly built, and they don't have a lot of good wing defenders. They have one that's okay, Jaden McDaniels, but other than that, it's a gaping hole there, and I disagree with what they did here. That's what I think. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't like the Gobert pickup either. I think that there's going to be a glaring problem there is because he doesn't play any defense, and I'll stick by that, and I'm pretty sure you'll stick by that as well, is that the reason why he was so good at, had so many blocks and won Defensive Player of the Year was because it's just a system he was in which the guards would drive their the person they're defending toward him, and it would just make it so easy for him to get a block. Because, how are you not going to get a block? You're 7 foot. So, because he can't come out on the perimeter because he'll get broken down. So it's like, he's not a lob threat. So what is he there for? You kind of just pushed Cat out, but that's okay because on the other side, I see it could possibly work, right? And this is how I can see it can work. Because if you can somehow get Cat and Gobert on the floor at the same time, that gives Cat room to space. And what is Cat really good at? He's really good at shooting threes. Out of the bigs, he's one of the best shooting bigs in the league. So if you can hide Gobert by hiding Cat and allow Cat to shoot from the perimeter and not really clog up the lane, even though you kind of messed up last year when you wouldn't let him just be in the and be a center. You know what I mean? Like, be down low and really like try to take advantage and
dominate the post.
Big body and dominate the post.
Yeah,
you kind of messed up there. But I guess if you're going to try to right your wrong, you can sit him on the perimeter, and you know what I mean. And it's really space the floor. That could work out because he does have a little bit of guard skill. But yeah, I don't like Gobert. So, and yes, I'm calling him Gobert. Say something. I wish you would. You know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to you, not you, Jason. He knows.
The comments.
He knows.
Everybody's got a dictionary, and everybody's got somebody that's commented on TikTok videos that's an English teacher. I feel like there's like 50,000 of them. Right. They just go scroll through TikTok just to see what mistakes you made. It was exactly. A joke. Okay, it was a joke.
It's a joke. It's a joke. I know it's Gobert and not Gobert, but I call him Gobert.
It's fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. The last team I want to touch on really, really quickly is the Houston Rockets. I'm excited to watch them play. Jalen Green is going to be so much fun to watch. If you're a Houston fan, I'm going to be, league passing in watching these games because I want to see how Jalen Green's going. And, I want to see how Jabari Smith looks, number one guy on my big board this year as well. And they did a really good job with another guy from LSU who was really high on my big board as well. He's like top 10 small forward. And, watching KCP as well, and Alperen Sengun, and Usman Garuba. And, I'm excited to see those guys play together. Hopefully they don't give too many minutes to Eric Gordon, because I feel like whenever he's on the floor, he tries to get shots up just to keep his points per game average up and, develop the young guys. And let's see how they do. And I'm excited to watch them play. They're not going to win a ton of games, but they're going to be fun. So... yeah. That's what I'm excited about watching the Rockets to see my back-to-back number one big board overall players on the same team.
Right. with Houston, I just want to see more of what we saw during the second half of the season for Jalen Green. That was really impressive for him to take such a leap. And I think that if he could take that leap and then Jabari Smith, do more of the same and starts to coming to his own in the league, they could down the line, they'll be a great team.
Yeah.
Pushing for the playoffs. But I think right now they'll just be fun to watch and fun to watch grow. And that's what I'm more excited about, is to watch them grow. I completely agree.
Yeah. Completely agree. All right. You ready to kick it to the last topic for the day?
Let's go.
All right, we have every award ranking. We have the top 3 for each award, and we're just going to talk about what you think about it, Chris. Okay. MVP, the top 3 ranking for the MVP is Luka, Giannis, Ja Morant. What do you think?
Luka, Giannis, and Ja Morant.
That was order 1, 2, 3.
Okay. What? So, you think? Okay. So I mean, like, Luka doesn't have a choice, right? But to take a step, because if he wants to win games and be a winning team, then he has to play at such a high level, like such an elite level, because he doesn't have anybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see that. I don't think there will be 1, 2, 3 though. I mean, like, I think that once Zion really gets playing, the voters will really look at Zion a lot more, and he might be in the top 3 voting, or maybe Joel Embiid, depending on how it turns out for him. I mean, but we only seen that version of Joel Embiid because James Harden wasn't really playing. I don't know. That's kind of difficult to say.
I guess since I'm guessing that's what you think about the MVP. I really feel like that was a really good take, and so we're going to go ahead and transition to the most improved player next. And the most improved player ranking for 1 through 3 for us is Tyrese Halliburton, LaMelo Ball, and Jaren Jackson Jr. Chris, what do you think of that?
Ooh, Jaren Jackson, Tyrese Halliburton. That's a good one, because I don't view I view LaMelo as all-star level player, especially on his team particularly. So I don't think he would. I think that he's going to get the all-star. I don't think that he could get the most improved player, or can he?
I think he'll get enough. Oh, you can be most improved if you're an all-star, but I think he's going to get so many more shots because no Miles Bridges.
There you go.
We'll get more points per game.
Sense. Yeah, but I think his most per game. I mean, I know you can get most improved and be an all-star. I understand that, but I'm I don't really see him as that kind of player. But I can see that happening. I can see him taking a step forward because he would have to carry more of the scoring load for the Charlotte Hornets. Jaren Jackson, that's a good one too. Yeah, I agree with that list for sure.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people don't know Tyrese Halliburton's about to get the keys to the offense in Indiana, and it's going to have a really good game, year scoring wise. So I completely understand because I made the list. All right, the next list up, the top 3 is Defensive Player of the Year. Draymond Green's 1, Giannis is 2, Ben Simmons is 3. What do you think, Chris?
Ooh, I think Ben Simmons is going to sneak up and grab that award.
I could see that.
I think that's what's going to happen for that one because the Nets just don't play any defense, so it's he's going to be playing a majority of the defense.
It's true.
He's going to take the lion's share of that defense, so I can really see him getting that award.
I feel like that's a really good point because he's going to be the star of the defense, and without him, that defense is terrible. And there's probably going to be a bunch of metrics and numbers that are going to be able to back that up because how bad their defense was last year. So I feel like that's a good point. I could see him being really high. Yeah, everybody understands why Draymond Green and Giannis are high. So
of course,
yeah, don't have to explain that. All right, 6th man of the year. Number 1 is Jordan Poole. Number 2 is Reggie Bullock. Number 3 is LaShawn Bones Highland. I think Tyler Hero should be in the starting lineup this year, but if he's not, then he's number 1 on the list because he's basically a borderline all-star. So what do you think, Chris?
Yeah, if Tyler Hero's on that list, then I would say he will win 6th man again.
Yeah.
LaShawn Bones Highland, I like that pick. I mean, if he truly is going to start getting some more minutes, he's going to. I'm high on him though too because So I could see that. Jordan Poole. That's a tough one because I feel like he's gonna be. I feel like he's gonna spend more time in the starting lineup than he will.
It's gonna be interesting if he is gonna be. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
I feel like he'll spend more time in the starting lineup. So for me, I like the list, and I think that maybe Nashawn Bones Highland might get it. The 6th man.
Yeah, he'll be up there. And it'll be interesting to see how much he grows. This is going to be really interesting. This 6th man award is really up for grabs for somebody to grow into a role and become this. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The next one up is Coach of the Year. Now, this is in my opinion. So, the Coach of the Year is usually, this team's won a bunch of games and this team's really solid. I'm talking about like the actual Coach of the Year, like the guy that makes the biggest difference on their team, even if their team's the 6th, 5th, 4th, 7th seed, but like he's maximizing. So, number 1 for me is Jason Kidd. I have the Dallas Mavericks as a 6th ranked team, but whatever the best version of the Mavericks is what Jason Kidd's going to get out of it. Nick Nurse, the Toronto Raptors would never be a borderline bubble team without Nick Nurse coaching it. And number 3 is Nate McMillan, because I feel like that defense is going to be whatever the best version of that defense is because of Nate McMillan coaching, and that's going to make this team more complete. So that's who I have 1, 2, 3. What do you think about that, Chris?
I would add Kobe. Is his name Kobe Altman? Is that the coach?
For who?
Or Cavs? Or is that
I think it's JB Bickerstaff.
Okay, so who's Kobe Altman? Why did I think of that name? He got to be something with the Cavs. Know. Okay, JB Bickerstaff. Okay, Kobe Altman must be something with the Cavs. Okay, I must have just seen him.
He might have been. I think that name sounds familiar, so he might have been somewhere in the front office or something like that a while back.
Yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
JB Bickerstaff, right? I think that he could.
That's a good choice. That's really good.
I would pick him for Coach of the Year because I think I think they're gonna go far.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like that's a good point.
It depends on how you can incorporate Donovan Mitchell and get everybody firing on all cylinders again. So I think that he could possibly get Coach of the Year.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good point, Chris. Yeah. I didn't think about him. All right, we're going to kick it to the Rookie of the Year. Number 1 for me is Jabari Smith Jr. Number 2 is Pablo Banchero. Number 3 is Jaden Ivey. What do you think about those 3 for Rookie of the Year? Or who else do you think is going to be in that competition?
I think that from what we understand is that these players are like... I mean, the draft at least was very top-heavy. So, like, once you got to a certain point, it was just like, kind of fell off. So I think this is a good list going forward. I think that it's going to be a really close, really, really, really close between Jabari Smith and Paolo Banchero. That's what I agree. But I can see Jabari Smith winning it, though.
Yeah, I feel like it's Jabari Smith and Pablo Banchero are definitely the front runners because they definitely have, out of the forwards on their teams, they're both the best scorers. So they're gonna get shots of some kind. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be interesting to see. Yeah. All right. So my projected All NBA first team, and see what you think of it. Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid. What do you think, Chris?
Joel Embiid, Steph Curry. Can you say it one more time?
Steph Curry, Luka Doncic, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid.
Kevin Durant in the first team?
Yep. You can disagree.
I'm thinking because that's kind of that's a good lineup. I think that matches, but I mean, I think that depending, right, on how JT plays is whether or not he ends up in that line in that first team on NBA.
True.
I want to believe, you know what I mean, that he's going to be a better player than he was last year, or even on the same level. Then he can definitely be a first team All NBA and kick Kevin Durant out.
That's true. I agree.
I can see that happening. Or
very competitive forward list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we can always just, wish upon a star and hopefully, Anthony Davis can stay healthy.
AD, yeah, it's right, AD. Yeah.
Bron had enough first team all NBAs. It doesn't really matter to him no more. That doesn't bother me that he's not on the list.
Yeah. All right, you ready to kick it to the second team?
Yeah.
Second team's Ja Morant, Trae Young, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard, Nikola Jokic. What do you think of that?
Ooh, wait. Hold on. Kawhi Leonard on the second team? That's it. You didn't make these easy.
That's not easy. It's not easy. No. I took time to think about it for sure. It's tough.
Yeah, this is tough because I'm like, Kawhi on the second team? Because I could see Kawhi being on the first team as well.
Me too. Yeah, it's really tough. Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't put LeBron on the second team though. I don't think he'll. I think he will end up on the third team though.
Okay. That's a good point. Yeah. You ready to kick it to the third team?
Huh?
I said you ready to kick it to the third team?
Oh, I would say I would replace LeBron if since JT doesn't make the first team. If he doesn't, then I would put him on the second team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good. The third team is Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, Jason Tatum, Zion Williamson, Karl-Anthony Towns. What do you think of that?
Gosh. That is wow. That's really wow. Okay, hold on. Because Donovan Mitchell on the third team? I mean, who's the guard for the second? The first? Okay, I understand Luka, right? You can't.
Luka and Steph were the first team, and the second team was Ja Morant and Trae Young. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. There's no Devin Booker either. I left Devin Booker off.
These are wow. Okay. Heck, I don't want to. I mean,
and I left AD off too.
That shows you how elite these guards are in force.
Yeah.
It's like I was still trying to figure out how did Donovan Mitchell get to the third team? Okay, I'm accepted. I don't know what to say. That really baffled me.
Yeah,
that really baffled me.
It's a good NBA league, man. There's a lot of good players right now. It's a really good league right now. Really deep. All right, is there anything else you say before we kick it to the end of this podcast?
No, I'm all good, right, friend.
Well, yeah, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. We really appreciate anywhere you're coming from, TikTok, YouTube. We really appreciate you guys leaving comments or liking, reviewing, sharing with your friends. Next week, on next week's episode, we're going to be talking about the NBA playoffs predictions. We're going to break down the brackets and just tell you who the NBA champions are going to be. And after that, regular season-wise, we're going to be going week to week. We're giving you guys breakdowns of how we're viewing teams, how our views have changed throughout the season because we might have a view on the Denver Nuggets and maybe Mike Porter Jr. is averaging 18 points per game, and we're gonna we gotta adjust where we view the Nuggets, man. It's gonna be really dependent on those things, and that's what we're gonna have going on moving forward. We're really excited about this NBA season, and okay. Well, anything else you want to say, Chris? All right. Well, I'm Jason Collins.
And I'm Chris Mom.
We're the Basketball Addicts.
Peace.
Out.